What's going on, Babylonians? It's me, Songs of Rays, and I'm back with some more Miasma Chronicles gameplay to be able to bring to you. Now, today's guide is going to be finding the perfect assault rifle to be able to pair with Elvis, and that is going to be the Dynamo assault rifle. In this video, we're going to be talking about where you need to be, how you're supposed to be able to get it, and all the special things that it brings to the table, and why I'm still using it in my current gameplay of Miasma. But if you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to see more from the channel, then make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out, and it helps you to be able to find us, to be able to find more Miasma gameplay guides like this in the future. But with all that said and done, let's get right into it. Alright, so the Dynamo assault rifle is one of the possible best assault rifles I've ever seen. It's just almost an instant lock for my Elvis character, because I like to be able to use miasma powers because they are insanely strong if used in the right circumstances, and it's just a great way to be able to allow you to be able to use these more, rather than just having to spend plastic and turns to be able to start using those energy converters, so you have access to all your abilities again. This can be relatively easily obtained straight into Chronicle 2, which is just straight after you've managed to open up the miasma wall and you've gone through to the next location. After initial cutscene and after initial kind of like campfire sit down to be able to talk within the members of your current party, you'll find that you're within the Temple of the Editors. Now, this is a relatively important part of the story because it's all talking about the editors, how the gloves kind of came to be, why they were so important, etc, etc. But let's be honest, that's not what this guide is about, because if you wanted to know the story, you'd probably watch something else. Instead, what you need to be able to do is head your way into the Temple of the Editors, and you'll come across this kind of like almost crossroads kind of style thing. But if you end up going across to this statue, you'll find a set of like ladders. You're able to interact with that to be able to climb up, and there is a item glowing blue, which is the Section 01 card. It's important that you pick this up because this will be what's opening up the door for you to be able to get hold of the chest, so make sure you do grab this before you go any further. To be able to find the door that you need to interact with this keycard, you need to take the route that's on the right hand side, as you were facing when you first came into the Temple of the Editors. This will take you down a fairly long-ish kind of path, with 3 potential kind of forks in the road. Straight on will be the continuation of the story, but we're not interested with that one because that opens up a little bit later. Left will take you to be able to find some side missions and some nice items to be able to take and use in your inventory, but the one on the right is the one that we need, and opening this door will then lead us into another room, and you can see that the chest is straight across a chasm, and you need to be able to find your way across to it. If you follow the path like you can see on the screen here and you head left, you'll then be able to curve all the way around to the right. You'll find a locked door that requires the Section 01 card. Funnily enough, we've already picked that one up, and interacting with that will open up the door. Inside here, we'll be able to find some items to be able to pick up, and then you'll also be able to interact with the purple case, and that will then give you the Dynamo assault rifle. So it's relatively easy to use, relatively simple to be able to acquire once you know where you need to be able to look for to be able to get that keycard. So why is the Dynamo so good? Well, the special thing that comes with this, on top of it being a level 2 assault rifle, meaning that it already has a pretty decent damage profile, is it also adds 10% crit chance when flanking, but this is fairly standard when it comes to assault rifle, so you don't need to worry about that bit, but it's the second line of text that makes it so important, which grants you 10 kilowatts of energy per hit. Now, on paper, this doesn't sound like a lot, but it's relatively easy to be able to start stacking this up, and especially when you consider that once you're in battle, being able to land that hit gives you 10 kilowatts. You're going to be in battle usually for several turns, and that means the more enemies that Elvis is able to target, the more enemies that he's able to hit, the faster he's able to get his kilowatts back, and that means the more miasma powers you're able to use. This gets even crazy because if you do then modify your weapon to be able to use ammo mods, or weapon mods in this case, to be able to get that energy gain mod, which grants you an additional 5 kilowatts of energy per hit, this means you're now getting 15 kilowatts back every single time you take a shot at an enemy and you're able to land that hit. So dealing damage is a great way to be able to start getting your abilities back, and that means that it's relatively simple to be able to start getting things back. Now, if you think about some of the abilities that exist in this game in terms of like the cost and everything like that, we have the tornado one, the miasma storm, that allows you to be able to pick enemies up, and this is a simple cost of 40. Now, obviously, you can amend that, you can modify that to be able to have different costs and everything, and there are ways to be able to reduce it down, there's ways to be able to increase it up. So obviously your kind of gameplay, the way you've styled it, would probably differ from mine. But if I don't actually increase the amount of damage that or the versatility of that, and I just left it as standard at 40 kilowatts, that means I can charge this back with the current combination of being able to use the energy and game mod as well as the weapon, and I can get all of that back within 3 turns of actually shooting some enemies. That is relatively quick, and it's so easy to be able to start stacking all of your energy back up, especially when you consider that one item or one cast of an energy converter gives you a 80 of your kilowatts back. You'll have all of that back within about 4, 5, 6 turns, something like that, and it just means it's cost effective, it's saving you on plastic, so it doubles down on that kind of effect, and it also gives you back most of your abilities. So now we've located the assault rifle, now you know what its special ability is, let's have a quick look as to why it's so impactful when it comes to Elvis, and how you're able to maximise its usefulness. Currently, how I have it currently set up in terms of like modifications, I'm going to go for a range buddy to be able to increase its weapon range by 20%. This gives me a nice 3 extra tiles on top of this, making me allowed to almost kind of like snipe in an essence with this one, so I can take a little bit of a distance, kind of like stand back, to be able to maximise the use of my abilities, as well as the amount of damage output that I can still put down range. On top of that, the weapon mod is going to be the important one, because if we have the energy gain mod, this grants us an additional 5 kilowatts of energy per hit, which takes the special ability of what this gun is and gives it an extra 50% efficiency when it comes to that, meaning that I'm getting 15 kilowatts of energy back every single time I land a hit. This is important to be able to use certain miasma powers, especially if you've got ways to be able to reduce the cost down. Like for example, Call of the Grabber is one of my favourite ones because it acts as an infield medic, and it's also a great way to be able to start distracting enemies so I don't take all of the hits on most of my party, which is, you know, quite important, especially when it comes to the later end of this game. And I've got ways to be able to reduce this down to 45 kilowatts, and this is supposed to last for 4 turns. The reason why that's important to be able to note is that because I'm getting 15 energy back every single time that I land a hit, and most of my turns I'm planning to be able to shoot, as long as I do 3 turns of being able to shoot an enemy, I'll have all of my energy back to be able to cast Call of the Grabber again, should I then need it. Now obviously you can mix and match some of your miasma powers. Obviously if you do go into your skill deck and you start grabbing the 3rd miasma slot, for example, then by all means you can like mess about with some of the other miasma powers that already exist in this game, but like as an example as to like some of the the abilities that are going to cost you the most, so I have 120 max kilowatts. There are ways for me to be able to improve that even higher if I really wanted to, but if I wanted to swap it out for Miasma Blast, that's the 90 kilowatt ability, which is insane to be able to like just try and factor that into some of your builds to be able to actually use in a combat situation, because you will then start finding that you're going to be using a majority of these energy cells to be able to start trying to get some of your energy back, so you can then use the rest of your abilities in battle. So if we go back to Elvis, let's have a quick look as to the abilities. So Call of the Grabber is one of my favourites. Like I said, it's definitely one of the best skills to be able to start casting out. It works as a target for enemies to be able to start shooting at instead of yourself. They got a massive move range. It's great at being able to heal and keep sustaining the rest of your party, saving you on plastic. So this kind of works really well to be able to save some of your currency, so you can spend it on other items, but then you've also got ways to be able to, you know, get some of your other abilities back. Now, Endoskeleton is a different one. I'll do a different video on this one because this is a hidden ability to be able to find, but obviously there are other things as well that exist, so like Miasma Storm, 40 kilowatts, you can get that lower if you really wanted to. If you put something like the Miasma Reducer, so the kilowatt inverter on there, you can get that down to as little as 30, maybe even 25, and that means every single day, like every 2 turns, you've got a free cast of Miasma Storm because you've actually managed to land some of your shots. That's probably one of the better ones to be able to use it with, because that takes enemies outside of cover and means you're more likely to be able to land your shots to be able to get your kilowatts back. You have things like Transmuter, which is once again a huge cost at 90, and Miasma Blast being a huge cost at 90, and there are other abilities as well. I think Mindworm especially is one that's going to be a lot of fun to be able to mess about with. I would look to be able to see if I can reduce it and get a couple more kilowatt inverter 2.0s to be able to reduce that down to 55, but that means that once again, if I'm landing my shots every 4 turns, I've got a way to be able to mind control an enemy for 2 turns, and that is just gives us some really nice damage output. It gives us an extra target. It's just overall, the usefulness, the utility that this brings to the battlefield is insane, and obviously, you know, you only have access to the one, so it's important to be able to get your miasma powers correct when it comes to Elvis, but once you do have that right, once you find the combo that you really want to be able to mess about with, then you've just got, it's just too good to be able to pass up on, and it's just absolutely perfect for Elvis. Honestly, if there was ever going to be a gun to be able to recommend to you, then it would be the Dynamo Assault Rifle, because like I said, it is great damage output, it's got a great way to be able to feed back into some of like the secondary stat, which is your kilowatts, and that just makes you so much more useful when it comes to the battlefield. There will be another guide over this wide boy shotgun as well, and honestly, I'm in love with this one as well, especially when it comes to Elvis, but I will be doing a separate guide on that, so if you're interested, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and keep your eyes peeled out for that one. But that just pretty much wraps it up on this guide to be able to talk about the Dynamo Assault Rifle. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below, have you picked this up? How do you currently gear this up? And do you do anything that's slightly different for me? But on top of that, what miasma powers do you actually use to be able to combine with this weapon? Massive thank you for making your way to the end of the video. Massive thank you to the Babylonian family, as always, for their continued support. It really does help the channel out. But with all that said and done, it just leaves me to say, keep yourself safe, keep yourselves well, and I'll see you all on the next video.